Welcome back to White House Field as the Harwich Mariners are set for their second matchup with the Cotuit Kettleers. Devin Dobeck joined by Wyatt Kopelman here in Al Graber press box with Sean Sears as our producer. Excited for a great one here as Shea Sprague ready to toe the rubber once again for the Mariners, making his third start. A game in which is big considering Cotuit, the number one team in the Cape Cod Baseball League. 26 total points for them with a record of 13-5. And Sprague going to really be put to the test here, Wyatt.
And you consider how much better Cotuit has gotten since the last time the Mariners have faced this team. The Mariners contained this Kettleers lineup to 10 hits, and you consider how much Cotuit got out of its top of its lineup. It's going to be a tall task for Shea Sprague today.
Should be interesting. As we might remember, it was Seaver King who was able to carry the Mariners to that 9-4 win back at Lowell Park earlier in the season. That was a game in which the Mariners went down 4-0 early and then stormed back with 9 of their own. Mariners offense has been something they've been struggling with. Hopefully can get a better result today.
Well, you consider what the Mariners lacked last night, and that was just fielding, essentially in the field, getting up so many liberties on the base pass. They have to clean that up today as well.
Let's meet the Cotuit Kettleers lineup for Coach Mike Roberts. Leading off the shortstop, Kalai Harrison. Batting second, the third baseman, Ryan Galaney. Batting third, the first baseman, Tanner Thatch. Batting cleanup, the designated hitter, Caleb Lomavita. Batting fifth, the center fielder, Carter Matheson. Batting sixth, the catcher, Cannon Peebles. Batting seventh, the second baseman, Emilian Petre. And batting eighth, the left fielder, T.O. Banks. And batting ninth, the right fielder, James McCoy. It's ball one from Shea Sprague, the North Carolina Tar Heel, to start off Kalai Harrison. As 1-0 is going to be lifted into the gap in right center field and falling down for a base hit. The former Harwich Mariner sticking it right to his old team, wasting no time. One batter, one hit. We'll get more into his Harwich numbers later, but nice to see a friendly face. Unfortunately, just in the wrong uniform today. So it'll be Ryan Galaney set to get things going once again for the Kettleers. Runner on first, nobody away. And this Kettleers offense is an absolute juggernaut. Come in hitting .263 as a club as a hit and run in play there. Mason Guerra, a nice short hop pick. Fires on to first, and the Mariners will take the out as Harrison trots down to second base. Galaney is retired.
Sprague has a three-pitch arsenal that he'll go to with a fastball at just around 60% of the time, a slider and a changeup as well. And he left it a little high to Harrison, the leadoff hitter, the first time out.
Tanner Thatch's turn. Digs in the third spot for the Cotuit Kettleers and comes into today out of UNC Wilmington, hitting .283. Also has 3 home runs. That's a ball club high for Cotuit, a team who loves the long ball, tied for the league lead with 14 home runs. Caleb Lomavita waits on deck, the designated hitter. Cotuit trying to jump on the M's early. Big breaking ball swung on, missed 0-1. And for Sprague this past season was a member of the Elan Phoenix. Had a .269 ERA to complement a 7-3 record in his 15 starts. Struck out 82 men to just 19 walks. 0-2 is cut on and miss. Down he goes. Looks Harrison back, fires on to first, and it's the first strikeout for Shea Sprague here in the first inning.
Devin, the Mariners certainly cannot be guessing in the infield as they did last night. They tried to go home twice to get leading runner at the plate, missed the tag each time, and the Mariners ultimately gave up just extra runs with these liberties on the base pass, and you're already working with a runner in scoring position as well.
Yeah, the defense really suffered last night. 3 team errors. It was once ruled 4, but just a lot of mental mistakes that won't show up on the stat sheet as well. You'd have to go back and watch the game just to understand really how poor the Mariners played. And granted, there was a fog, present. I'm not sure what you want to call it. A fog hindrance, we'll say, as the 0-1 to Lomavita is cut on and missed 0-2. But yeah, still no excuse for getting whacked by the worst team in the Cape Cod Baseball League. No balls, 2 strikes from Shea Sprague. He comes set, crosses the right foot over, kicks and delivers. Just slow. Did he go? No. So says first base umpire. Mariner defense is 7th in the Cape Cod Baseball League, a .968 fielding percentage and 20 errors. In the outfield left to right, Kennedy Jones, Casey Sauke, and Devin Obie. Third to first in the infield, Mason Guerra, Ali Camarillo, Jacob Humphrey, and Matt Scannell, with Andrew Yu doing the catching. This one's going to be blasted into center field for a base hit. Sauke Fields going to try and take a bit at the plate, but it's almost cut off by Guerra as Harrison's in to score, and the Kets are up 1-0.
Mariners scored 9 unanswered runs after trailing by 4 going into the middle innings, but you don't want to fall behind into that similar situation here today. Sprague looking for a convincing start on the mound, but the Kettleers just a little bit more firepower right now.
Carter Matheson digs in after Loma Vita's clutch piece of 2-strike hitting gives Cotuit the lead. As I mentioned before, 13-5 record for the Kettleers. They are an absolute powerhouse coming in. And consistently the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League. 17 championships for the Kettleers. A ball and no strikes to Matheson. On first is Loma Vita, the pitch. In there down the middle, it's 1-1. Mariners rocking their home cream uniform. Says Mariners across the front in navy. Navy numbers on the back, all trimmed in red with navy socks, red stripes, and the red hats with the navy blue Trident M logo. And now they got him in a rundown. The throw down to second, and the tag is applied. Loma Vita is picked off by Sprague, but he's able to at least do some damage as he drives in Kalai Harrison. 1-0 Kettleers. We'll take a quick break, step aside, and be back on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Let's meet the Harwich Mariners for Coach Steve Engler. Leading off the second baseman, Jacob Humphrey. Batting second in center field, Casey Sauke. Batting third, the left fielder, Kennedy Jones. Batting cleanup, the designated hitter, Lorenzo Carrier. Batting fifth, the third baseman, Mason Guerra. Batting sixth, the right fielder, Devin Obi. Batting seventh, the first baseman, Matt Scannell. Batting eighth, the catcher, Andrew Yu. And batting ninth, the shortstop, Ali Camarillo. Pitching for the Cotuit Kettleers is going to be Cole Mathis. Mathis toes the rubber, 6'1", 210 pounds, out of the College of Charleston. Comes in with a 4.15 ERA in his 2 games. He started 1, 8 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, and 1 walk to 12 strikeouts, averaging about 1.33 strikeouts per inning. We'll see what he can bring here against a Mariners order who has really been struggling lately.
And this is going to be a tough pitcher to go up against. Had a 7.8 strikeout to walk ratio this season at Charleston.
A 1 pitch to Humphrey is going to be down low for a ball. And for Humphrey, started to get hot, but was sat the last 2 games. And now back into that leadoff spot, and he takes his base after being hit by a pitch. So the Mariners get the leadoff man on, and when you have a leadoff guy like Humphrey, when he is able to get on, he is a huge threat on the base paths, Wyatt.
Yeah, you certainly need someone to set up your middle of the lineup and just get the runners moving, of course. And for Humphrey, that's going to be huge for him tonight. The Mariners got a 1-for-3 outing of Ali Camarillo last night, but they need a little bit of an extra spark at the top.
Humphrey leads the team in runs scored with 11, also stolen bases with 7, and being hit by pitch. He's been hit now 3 times.
How about Matt Scannell as well, getting into scoring position? 3 straight games with a stolen base. We'll see what he can do here today in the 7th spot.
He's been struggling, but at the plate rather, but getting on base has been a strong suit of his. And now it'll be Casey Sauke making his Mariner debut. Sauke out of Virginia, a junior out of Rochester, New York, attended Greece Athena High School. He's behind in the count 0-1. He just played for Virginia back in the college baseball playoffs. All kinds of accolades for this guy. Hit .296 for the Cavaliers this past season. As they take another look at Humphrey, and he gets around the tag. Scary play over at first base as he wants to be put in motion. And Cole Mathis is really, I think he's checked over there about 3 times already with only throwing 1 pitch. Humphrey, moderate lead off of first base. Mathis comes set, and the pitch is going to be lined into right field and down for a base hit. It rolls all the way to the corner. Humphrey rounding third. He's headed home. Sauke in there with a stand-up double, and that's how his Mariner debut starts as the Mariners even it at 1.
Sauke had a huge year of improvement at Virginia this season, over 10 multiple hit games. Was a pretty big factor in Virginia actually getting to the College World Series, albeit it lost twice, once to TCU and once to Florida. But he was excellent in that Super Regional against Duke as well. We'll see what he's able to continue doing here in the top of the lineup.
So the M's already have tied their run total from last night without recording an out here in the first inning. Funny how baseball works, ain't it? Cotuit rocking their road maroon uniform, says Cotuit in navy across the chest with navy number on both the front and back, all trimmed in white with the white pinstripe pants with maroon pinstripes, and navy blue hats with the Cotuit C pictured on the front. It's 1-0 to Kennedy Jones, the left fielder for the Mariners. Mariner team just had 4 hits last night and walked just once as Jones is going to ground it over to second. Sauke looked back by Petre, and that will be out number 1 here in the first. Let's meet the Cotuit Kettleers defense. They are 3rd in the Cape Cod Baseball League with a .971 fielding percentage and 19 errors. From left to right in the outfield, Teo Banks, Carter Matheson, and James McCoy. 3rd to 1st in the infield, Ryan Galaney, Kalai Harrison, Emilian Petre, and Tanner Thatch, with Cannon Peebles doing the catching for Mathis. First pitch to Lorenzo Carrier, cut on a miss. It's 0-1. 1 away here in the home half of the first, as the Mariners have already tied it at 1 thanks to a Casey Sauke RBI double. 0-1 is going to be chopped foul off to the left. And so it's 0-2. Carrier this season for Harwich, he's had a tough time at the plate, but when he has been able to connect, good things have happened, hitting just 171 in his 35 at-bats, but does have a pair of home runs, which leads the team. He breaks his bat here and shoots it out to shallow center field. It's down for a base hit. Sauke, a good jump. He'll round third, take a turn, and he's headed home now without a throw. RBI single for Lorenzo Carrier on a ball hit in the Bermuda Triangle, and Sauke comes in to give the Mariners the lead. It's 2-1.
And he sent more than the barrel of the bat, zipping down the third base line as well. But for Carrier, much needed hit. Has been prone to strikeouts relatively often as of late. And that sets up Mason Guerra here as the Mariners have that first lead. They really need some early run production after only getting 1 last night.
That will be RBI number 10 for Lorenzo Carrier. He stays in the middle of that order and frankly has had his success driving in runners. A sacrifice fly also for him on the season. When you think the team lead being 14 runs batted in belonging to Kennedy Jones, not a bad mark for Carrier despite the average. So Mason Guerra's turn. Runner on first is Carrier, and first pitch is in there for a strike, 0-1. Only one other game active currently. It's the YD Red Sox on top of the Brewster Whitecaps, 3-1 in the top of the third from Red Wilson. Pitch to Guerra is in there for a strike. It's 0-2, and Guerra has had a hit in each game he's played with the Harwich Mariners, the Oregon State third baseman. Doing everything he can to replace the production that was lost in Kalen Culpepper. 0-2. They're going to take a look over at Carrier, who's back in there with a slide. But the Red Sox sit atop the East still, excuse me, with 21 points. Harwich right behind them with 20, and still a game left to play. As 0-2 set to come to Guerra, and he chops it foul off towards the on-deck circle. Nice play by Tom Shimoleski on the bench there. But YD, similar to how Harwich got spanked last night by the Anglers 8-1, YD lost to Orleans 10-1 out at Eldridge Park. Firebirds are right in the middle of everything once again. 0-2, bounced in the dirt. Nice stop by Peebles. And so it'll be 1-2. Just about set for the 1-2 as Mathis checks the runner and fires. It is in there for strike 3. So says Al Bosdale. First strikeout for Mathis. And there's now 2 away. Al Bosdale calling the balls and strikes tonight with Tony Carilli at first base and Mike Mackey at third base. That is your umpiring crew. We've seen a lot of Mike Mackey. Actually, all 3 of these guys we've been seeing a lot of lately, Wyatt. First pitch coming to Devin Obie, misses outside. It's 1-0. Matt Scannell on deck. Mariners have jumped back on the Kettleers, scoring 2 runs here in the first. As another swing that was a little fooled by Obie makes it 1-1. Obie on the season for Harwich comes in hitting just .219. Does have 4 runs batted in, punched out 16 times. That's second on the team. He's behind on the count 1-2 now, and the only one he's behind is Jacob Humphrey with 19. But Obie made his debut, of course, against the Cotuit Kettleers back the first time these two played each other and posted 4 strikeouts as well as a walk. 1-2 is swing and a miss. Down goes Obie. Back-to-back strikeouts to end the first, but not before. Mathis surrenders 2 and the lead. Harwich on top 2-1. We head to the second. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Top of the second here, and we just want to take a quick second and give a huge shout out to the diehard Mariners fan, Allie from Chicago, who's tuning in all the way from Illinois. So, Allie, thank you for your support and for tuning in. It's an 0-1 count now to Carter Matheson as a breaking ball snaps in down the middle. Devin Dobeck alongside Wyatt Kopelman along with you here as the Mariners lead this one 2-1. Breaking ball is going to be lifted high and deep out into the gap in right center. Moving over is Sauke, and he's able to put it away casually for out number 1 here in the second.
Cotuit team with the second most RBIs in the league this season. And the Mariners have done a good job of limiting that, but Chase Sprague wanted to get those 5 innings. Not going to be scoreless, but certainly has a long way to go, and it'd still be a huge feat if he's able to hold them to less than 3 RBIs.
Yeah, Cotuit for sure an offensive-minded team. An OPS of 743 for them. They've tallied 150 hits and 14 home runs, as I mentioned, to go along with 96 runs in the 18 games they've played. 1-0 pitch is going to be in there for a strike now to Cannon Peebles, the catcher for the Kettleers. So the count is even at 1. 1-1. Looked to be a similar spot, but it will miss outside. 2-1. 2-1 misses down low to make it 3-1. Peebles on the season comes in hitting .212 out of North Carolina State. Teammate of Kalai Harrison on the Kettleers. 3-1's fouled off, 3-2.
He's a switch hitter as well, so it can make it more unguessable for a lot of pitchers. But Chase Sprague looking to pitch in one of the highest talented conferences in college baseball in the ACC. This is what you might have to face. Someone only had 7 RBIs, however, in Peebles.
Peebles does also carry a .366 on-base percentage. Payoff pitch. Misses inside, and it's going to be a 6-pitch walk issued, which brings up Emilian Petre. Around the rest of the league tonight, Falmouth heads to Wareham to take on the Gatemen at Spillane Field. Orleans travels to Bourne to take on the Braves at Doran Park, and the Harbor Hawks battling the Anglers from Veterans Field. First pitch to Petre is in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Sprague works at a pretty quick clip. We've been commenting on how pitchers have been adapting to the pitch clock and developing a rhythm out on the mound, but safe to say that Sprague wastes no time out there. He'll go over to first. He's already picked off one man, but back in there without a dive is Peebles. Welcome to the month of July as well. Weather finally starting to get normal. Hopefully can stay normal heading into the 4th of July time of the year. It's 0-2 now to Petre as he swings and misses over that breaking ball. Beautiful night, though, in the mid-70s, partly cloudy here from Harwich, Massachusetts. 0-2, misses down in the dirt. 1-2, good pitch to waste there for Sprague.
You've retired 3 of your first 6 faced here. You're looking to decrease that ERA, 5 earned runs over the first 2. And it's a good chance to keep it at 1 here if he can go into 5.
1-2 pitch coming from Sprague. Fastball, good spot to miss, just off the plate, did not move an inch. Good discipline that time from Petre, and it's 2-2. Sprague's best pitch is that breaking ball that starts on the middle part of the plate and breaks outside, especially to left-handed hitters rather. I'll take a look over at first and back in there without a dive once again is Peebles. But yeah, just a nasty breaking pitch when he's able to locate it and when he throws it to particularly lefties. We'll see if he's elected to do that here against Petre. Coming set. Here's the 2-2. Tried it, just missed a little bit outside, and it's 3-2 now. Credit to Petre, though. Was down to the count 0-2, was able to work it all the way back full, so even if he gets out here, he'll at least will get his money's worth. 3-2 from Sprague is going to be chopped foul and spoiled. We'll keep it at 3-2. And so nice to have a beautiful, clear night with a soft breeze after Chatham was just like something out of the Twilight Zone last night, Wyatt, with the fog and everything. 3-2. Misses up high. And that's a great at-bat. A 7-pitch walk issued to Petrie. You got to tip your cap after being down 0-2. Really did everything he could.
And now you've gotten your pitch count up to 27 for this Cotuit lineup thus far. And albeit you only have a couple of hits thus far, it's only a 1-1 game, and still with one out, the double play opportunity is available for Sprague, but certainly have to go one by one here as he gives up a couple of walks.
First pitch now to the 8-hitter. Teo Banks is swung on miss for a strike. Sprague's third appearance made his debut back against the YD Red Sox on June 16th. Went 4 2/3 innings, 70 pitches, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, and a walk. 0-1 is going to be fouled back again, 0-2. And then pitched again against the YD Red Sox on June 24th. Was credited with the loss in 4 1/3 inning through 74 pitches, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Game in which the Mariner batting order really didn't come to play. Final score was 5-2. 0-2 coming to Banks, and it's spoiled off to the right. We'll stay there and do it again.
Something that Sprague will certainly have to lock in and doing is just commanding the corners. The fastball didn't go down enough in the zone on Petrie's walk, and now you're working out of the stretch with 2 on here. You definitely need to just get a quick strikeout here. You only have 1 thus far, but still a long way to go in this one.
0-2, excuse me, and they're going to take a look down at second. On deck, James McCoy, the right fielder for the Kettleers. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Down goes Banks. It's strikeout number 2 for Shea Sprague, and a big one with 2 men on. And now it'll be a fresh count for James McCoy, the 9-hitter, as he looks to extend the inning.
Yeah, at some point you have to stop the momentum, especially in the lower third of this order, which can be good for a Cotuit team that also has 14 home runs, 18 doubles, the second best batting average in the league. And Sprague that time dealing a nice changeup on that corner.
James McCoy's turn. Runner on second is Peebles with Petrie on first. Tried saying those names 3 times fast. It's 0-1 now after a looking strike to James McCoy. Mariners leading this one in the top of the second. The pitch. Swing and a miss once again. Shea Sprague working that off-speed stuff away from the hitter, and it's been successful here early on. Sprague surveying the runners, and here comes his 0-2. Just missed outside. Good spot to miss once again. He's been living just off the plate. That one not fooling the hitter in McCoy. Sprague trying to get out number 3 with no harm done, and he does. Strike 3. The Mariners take their 2-1 lead into the home half as Shea Sprague escapes the jam. We'll take a quick break and be back. Mariners coming back up at you. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
second for Harwich, the first baseman from Princeton, number 10, Matt Scannell.
Matt Scannell, Andrew Yu, and Ali Camarillo do up the bottom three in the order for the Mariners. They hold a 2-1 lead as Mathis back out there, and the first pitch that Scannell sees, he flies into foul territory for strike one. And why don't we talk about Matt Scannell? He's in second on the team in RBIs with 13, and the hits have slowed down for him, but somehow, some way, he's been able to bring value to this Harwich order.
I think when you consider how you move runners in the bottom of the order, especially, Scannell is just one of those guys who's going to be able to provide that with the walks in addition to the groundouts.
Rips one into center field on cue there to start the Mariners second, and he's on board. Last night, he had one of the 4 Harwich hits, and that broke up a streak of being 0 for 10 in his previous 3 games, and 1 for his last 14. If you really wanted to go back, you could make him 1 for his last 20 prior to that hit last night, and now he's got one here tonight. Nice to see him busting back out again as Andrew Yu, the other catcher for the Mariners, digs back in. Brian Arndt got the start last night, and it's Andrew Yu's turn. Andrew Yu coming off his best game of the season by far in the win against Wareham. He's ahead in the count 1-0 here. The pitch misses down low 2-0. He also joined the team back on June 19th for the Cotuit Kettleers game, went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. What a long way he's come. Comes in with a 4-game hit streak for himself. He's had 1 hit in each of those games. Also walked twice last game. 2 balls and a strike now to the Duke product. Beautiful Saturday night here down the Cape. And the traffic lets you know what time of year it is if you can't tell. As this one's grounded over the second baseman, Petre. It goes on to second for 1, over to first. It's a 4-6-3 double play. And so there's now 2 away here in the second.
And as disheartening as that is to have your 5th run at the plate to be able to get some insurance runs here, the Mariners last night striking out 9 times. It's only been susceptible towards on multiple games throughout these last 5. So out of anything, of course, you want to see them be able to get on base at first.
So it'll be Camarillo's turn. Ali coming in for the Mariners. And he's had another guy who's had a roller coaster of a season, hitting just 190 now. And he has 63 at-bats. Those are a team high. Count is even at 1-1, but it also has had some of the biggest games for the Mariners, including the walk-off single against the Anglers last week, and a 3-hit game back against, I believe, Orleans. 1-1 is cut on a miss, 1-2. Recent Texas A&M transfer out of Cal State Northridge. One-two pitch. And it's lifted out into center field. Long run over for Matheson, and it falls in over Harrison in shallow left field. So Ali Camarillo able to get a 2-out base knock to extend the inning.
That's what he needs to keep doing here for the Mariners. They're only really averaging just about 4.5 runs in the last 5 games, and you consider what it takes to kind of get out of that win-loss situation on every 2 nights. The Mariners 2-3 in their last 5. You get those base hits from Camarillo with 2 outs, and now it's over to Humphrey, someone who also has been heating up the lineup.
Humphrey was hit by a pitch, came around a score in the first to tie the ball game on a Casey Sauke double. He awaits on deck as they take a look over in the runner and Camarillo, and he's back in there safely. Here comes the first pitch to Humphrey, and it's in the dirt. Down to second easily is going to be Camarillo. A late throw that time from Peebles. Not really even a remote chance at him, as by the time he was able to get the ball off, Camarillo was starting his slide.
I think Peebles that time felt as if Humphrey was a little bit in the way in that caught steal attempt.
Oh, so maybe trying to draw the call in, which we've seen a decent handful of times here early on. It's going to be a 1-1 count now to the UMass Lowell Riverhawk.
Saw catcher's interference last night that allowed an opportunity for one of the Anglers batters to actually take base. I think it would have been the opposite there.
Another pitch just misses outside, 2-1. Skies have grown pretty gray here now in Harwich. That sun and blue sky area has subsided. But anything beats the fog in Chatham last night. 2 balls and a strike now to Jacob Humphrey, or 3 balls and a strike rather. Camarillo down at second, 180 feet away from doubling the Mariner margin. The pitch. 3-1 is chopped off to the left over towards the Harwich bullpen, and so the count will be worked full. Coming set now is the pitcher in Mathis. Camarillo thought about taking an early break as this one's going to be lifted out to center field. Long run back for Matheson, but he settles under it and makes the run and catch for out number 3. I tell you, Humphrey has given a few a good ride this season out to center field, but still just a few push-ups away from rounding the bases. We'll take a quick break and step aside. 2-1 Harwich. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Leading off the top of the third inning for Cotuit, the shortstop from NC State, number 7, Kalai Harrison.
Top of the order, Kalai Harrison, Ryan Galaney, and Tanner Thatch due up for the Harwich Mariners, or rather for the Cotuit Kettleers, as the Mariners back out on defense with a 2-1 advantage here. First pitch to Kalai Harrison is in there for a strike. Harrison, of course, as I mentioned, in Harwich last summer. Played 16 games for the M's, tallied 15 hits, a .278 batting average, did punch out 17 times. Walked 8 times, though, on-base percentage of .381. Remember, he had a game in which he had a pair of hits, pair of walks, was on base 4 times, was fantastic as he rips this one over to Matt Scannell. A line out to first, and that's how the third inning starts here. There's one away.
It's interesting you bring up the hitting prowess of Harrison, what he does with his contact-focused approach, but Scannell's played exceptional at the first base bag this season, especially with the departure of Hunter Fitzgerald now.
And back to Harrison as well. Was at Texas A&M before coming to Harwich. Not this past year, but 2 years ago. Hit just 162 in his 44 plate appearances for the Aggies, and then transferred to NC State, where he hit .313, so a pretty encouraging move for him. Also played 57 games compared to 19. So definitely a smart move for Kalai there, and once a Mariner, always a Mariner. 2 balls and no strikes to Ryan Galaney, who grounded out to third in his first time up at bat. as this one's grooved right in there down the middle. It's 2-1. 2-1 offering is going to be grounded over down the third base line, but just foul, so says Mike Mackey. Close one, almost got over the bag, but I'll have to see another pitch. It's 2-2 now. Tanner Thatch on deck. Kettleers trying to chase that one-run margin. The pitch. Outside, 3-2, and as I will now say for the third time, Cotuit, a team more than capable of knotting up this game with one swing of the bat. 14 home runs for them in their 18 games played. A fantastic mark. Payoff. Lifted high and deep out to left field as if on cue. Kennedy Jones back at the wall. It is gone. Well, how about that? The Kettleers on one swing of the bat able to bring this back to a tie ball game. It's 2-2.
Cotuit with 14 home runs, now 15 on the season. 3 of those now from Ryan Galaney, one of the top power hitters on this Cotuit lineup, and there's a reason that the Kettleers win a lot of games, and it's because they're able to either even the game, if not take early leads, and the Mariners once again in a new ball game.
So Sprague is taken deep by Galaney, and it's not going to get any easier with Tanner Thatch climbing in as he grounds it on a few hops over to the second baseman and Humphrey on the first, a 4-3 putout, and now things can settle down again. I mean, that ball was crushed, Wyatt. There's not too many times you can see it off the bat and know it was gone. This time, you just knew it was gone.
It was just at the letters, and I think Sprague knew it as soon as it had the exit velocity that it did. I mean, aside from the launch angle, that was launched about maybe a quarter or third away up the light tower out in left field.
As this one's once again going to be lifted out to center, but not much trouble for Selke as he's under it. And the side is retired. But a home run from Ryan Galaney knots the game up at 2. Mariners coming back with their chance to respond. 2-2 here from White House. We'll be back for the home half of the third. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Leading off the bottom of the third inning for Harwich, the center fielder from Virginia, number 26, Casey Saki.
Casey Selke, Kennedy Jones, and Lorenzo Carrier due up for the Harwich Mariners as they squandered their one-run lead in the same fashion that Cotuit did earlier on in the ballgame. Selke 1-for-1 on the day with an RBI double. He's behind in the count 0-1. Rising junior at Virginia. 6th in runs on the Cavaliers with 46 as he chops this one softly over to Petre on the first, and that's how the third inning starts with 1 away.
Mariners with a couple of strikeouts thus far, and if anything, for what they've been susceptible of doing as of late, running up high strikeouts. The Cotuit Kettleers have the second most of those amongst their pitching staff here. But for Casey Sauke to be able to go for a double to center field in his first at bat and then ground out is a good sign the Mariners may not be doing that tonight.
In climbs Kennedy Jones. First pitch to him, misses down. Or no, it's going to be in there for a strike. I jumped the gun. It's 0-1. For Kennedy Jones, just snapped a 5-game hit and on base streak after an 0-for-4 night last night. It's a ball and a strike now as he's almost plunked by that one.
That's helmet music. That's more than chin music.
Yeah, he had to get out of the way of that one quickly. Lorenzo Carrier on deck, due up for the M's. 1-1. Misses low and away. It's 2-1. Kennedy, a recent South Carolina transfer out of Norfolk, Virginia. 6'1", 212. As count is even at 2-2. Kennedy Jones did not like that pitch, and he's being a little vocal about it with Al Bosdell. Here comes the 2-2 to Jones. Misses inside. No, it got him. Got him on the arm, and so Jones will accept his base down to first. He trots, and the Mariners have a base runner here in the third.
Mathis has done a relatively good job of keeping runners out of scoring position, but now you have Lorenzo Carrier coming up, someone who has begun to find his rhythm early on in this game. You're going to need to get these runners moving, and for Harwich, in order to take a little bit of a lead, find a little bit of a spark, having not scored since the first.
Mariners have had a base runner in each of the first 3 innings, which is so refreshing after they went down in order 5 times in their 9 times up to bat last night in Chatham. And a Chatham team with an ERA above 6.2. So for Harwich to get set down in order 5 times is, I'm not sure the word for it, but it's not great. It's a ball and no strikes now to Carrier. Jones leads off first. Not really a threat to run as the ball's outside, and it's 2-0. In the same way that Galaney was able to pimp one out of here, Lorenzo Carrier more capable of having some power in that right-hand side of the box. There's a team high 2 home runs for the M's this season. Three balls and no strikes to the Miami outfielder, and having 2 on for Mason Guerra would not be the worst thing in the world. Trying to extend his hit streak to 4 games here tonight.
And Cotuit already getting an arm warm down the right field side here. Mike Roberts, I think, is just trying to calm Cole Mathis down a little bit and see what he can at least get through with the middle part of the order coming up here. Just 1 hit through the middle third here, but the Mariners have been getting a lot of answers out of that lower third as well. There's a home plate umpire, and Al Bosdell's coming out to break this mound meeting up. But if you're Mathis right now, you had a strong ERA at Charleston this season, under 4. You certainly want to make sure that can translate here in order to keep this a new ball game, of course.
And Roberts, someone who is not afraid to pull the trigger early on a substitution. So I'm sure if he loses Carrier and then Guerra, that he will be yanked appropriately. 3-0 from Mathis is a breaking ball down in the dirt. It's a 4-pitch walk. And so now runners on first and second for Mason Guerra.
Cam Schulke out of the College of Central Florida, 0-1 this season for the Cotuit Kettleers, and they're going to draw a pitching change here. I don't think Roberts wanted to wait any longer.
Yeah, so it's just a strategic mound visit by Mike Roberts just a pitch ago, just to buy his bullpen arm a little more time, and now he's going to make the move. Pitching change here from White House. We'll be right back in a flash. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back here. Call to the bullpen. It's going to be Cam Schulke taking the reins from Cole Mathis as Mike Roberts with an early move, just 2 1/3 innings into this ball game. For Schulke, comes in 6'0", 195 pounds, out of Dorr, Michigan, and the College of Central Florida. 0-1 record, an ERA of 9. This will be his 6th appearance. He's thrown 7 innings, 10 hits, 7 earned runs, 6 walks to 13 strikeouts. It'll be Jones on second and Carrier on first, both without putting the ball into play, as first pitch is going to be way up for a ball. It's 1-0 from the submarine-style Schulke. Here comes the 1-0 offering, and it's swung on a miss. Big swing from Guerra that time, and it's 1-1.
Well, Devin, I don't think Schulke will be finishing this game. He finished 6th last year for Cotuit, and we're only in the bottom of the 3rd inning at the 1-out mark. Had 3 saves as well for the Kettleers last season.
That fog definitely becoming a factor here at White House. Not nearly as bad as it was, in Chatham last night. 1-1 is going to be popped foul off to the right and out of play. It's 1-2. And it's kind of crazy, this delivery we're seeing from Schulke. That off-speed pitch, you can visibly see it slow down. I mean, a changeup, you typically see it, and it comes in fast. You're like, oh, okay, it's a little slower. But this one, you can visibly see this change in speed. And it's got some vertical motion as well. It's a ball and 2 strikes now to Guerra. See what Schulke elects to do up in the count. Here it is. Swing and a miss. He got him. A 4-pitch strikeout for Cam Schulke. And that's out number 2 here in the 3rd.
Yeah, you know Guerra hitting in the 5 spot today. Definitely wanted another crack at the starter in Cole Mathis. As he only went 2 1/3 innings, he actually struck out Guerra looking the first time around.
Devin Obie's turn. An RBI opportunity. Long look in from Schulke. Working out of the stretch. Comes set. Big lead for Carrier with no one holding him on at first. And Obie checked his swing. Yes, he did. Might have been in there for a strike regardless, and it's 0-1. Kennedy Jones down at second. Not a huge lead for him as he's being kept honest by Petre. 0-1. Slider goes way out of the zone. It's 1-1. YD on top of Brewster, 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th. Falmouth on top of Wareham, 2-0 in the bottom of the 1st. And Orleans leads Bourne 2-0 in the top of the 1st. Another really late swing from Obie that time. And it looks like these Harwich hitters are just having trouble timing the delivery. Granted, it's been a very small sample size of 2 guys, but we've seen a lot of whiffs early on. I think 3 or 4 from these 2 guys. 1-2, swing and a miss. Down goes Obie. Back-to-back strikeouts for Schulke, and after inheriting 2 base runners, he's able to escape the jam. We now head to the middle 3rd of the ball game. 2-2, a good one here from Harwich. We'll be right back on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back to the top of the fourth. Devin Dobek alongside Wyatt Kopelman, who will be taking over on play-by-play duties for innings 4 through 6 here. And a good one, 2-2. Wyatt, take it away.
All right, Devin, 7 combined hits. One of them a game-tying home run from Ryan Galaney, his 3rd on the season. Shea Sprague is back on the mound for his 4th inning of his latest start, set to go to North Carolina, facing Carter Matheson here, and set to face the middle third of the order here. Cannon Peoples on deck out of North Carolina, earned a walk. Meanwhile, for Matheson, flat out to center back in the 2nd. A borderline pitch that time. We've seen the fastball from Sprague. It's been controlled to a certain degree, and then the slider and changeup have been sneaked in as well. The southpaw deals, and it's roped out towards right field, and it gets down for a base hit in front of Obi. So it's a leadoff hit here for Carter Matheson. He moves to 1 for 2 on the evening, and it had been 3 of the last 4 retired for Shea Sprague, and aside from the home run, certainly begun to settle in as well.
And he still has surrendered a decent amount of hits, a few walks, but finding ways to get out of jams, and he's been utilizing all areas of the strike zone to help himself out. Cotuit, a team that can hit the baseball. We already saw them go yard once. We'll see what happens here.
Here comes Cannon Peoples, the NC State freshman here. 7 hits, 7 walks, hitting .212 for the Kettleers, atop of the Cape Cod West standings at 13-5 on the season. But they had their doors blown off with 9 unanswered runs after taking a 4-0 lead back at Lowell Park last week. Here's a bunt attempt shown, and it goes right back to Sprague. Tries to barehand the throw into first, and it's in time. Well, that moves Matheson into scoring position after a leadoff single to right field, as there's another runner in scoring position here. And the Kettleers seem to be so adept at that, even if they don't get those multiple runners on, Devin, just being able to move runners around, something that the Mariners have struggled with as of late.
Yeah, that is their MO of their game. Mike Roberts loves small ball. We already saw a hit and run earlier in the ball game. We see a bunt laid down there. They're going to steal a lot of bases. That's just what they do. That's what's led to their success all these years. But high risk, high reward. You'll take the out for the base runner here in a tight game.
Now 1 away for Emilian Petre. Reached on a 1-out walk back in the 2nd inning. Turned into no runs despite 2 on for the Kettleers, who led this game 1-0 after the visitors' half of the opening frame. Launched over towards the right side. Humphrey at the lip of the outfield grass fires onto first, as now Matheson moves into 3rd. So 2 quick roundouts here, and Sprague now worries about a runner on 3rd as he makes his way closer towards the end of the lineup.
And I'll tell you what, Jacob Humphrey's offense may not be the most consistent thing we've seen this season, but his defense, both in the outfield and infield, have been spotless. He does a great job of holding down both positions. Nice to have a utility guy that you can rely on, especially with the amount of middle infielders that the Mariners have lost in King and Culpepper.
Just low and outside here to Teo Banks. Struck out swinging back in the 2nd in his only trip here against Sprague. Swing and a miss that time from the southpaw, formerly of Elon, set to go to North Carolina of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Trying to go 5 innings here for Steve Englert, and he's given up 2 runs thus far. Now it's 1-2 here to Banks as he tries to avoid striking out for the 2nd time today. The Mariners ahead 2-1 after the opening frame, and a solo home run from Ryan Galaney, making this a new ball game going here into the middle frames. Mariners leaving 3 combined on base in the 2nd and the 3rd. Big pitch here. Lofted out towards right field, moving back Obi. Not too far, he makes the catch for the final out of the inning. So despite a leadoff single from Carter Matheson in the 5-hole, 3 straight retired here from Shea Sprague, 2 groundouts and a flyout, as Cotuit leaves a runner stranded on 3rd. We're coming on back with the Mariners and the Kettleers tied at 2 in their 2nd meeting on the season, home half of the 4th. Coming your way here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Fields. 2-2 between Harwich and Cotuit, second meeting on the season. And although the Kettleers have the second most runs in the Cape Cod Baseball League this season, now at 98, trailing just Wareham, which has hit triple digits at 100, the Mariners have gotten a solid start out of Shea Sprague. As a reliever in Cam Schulke, the sidewinder, set to face the lower third of the order here in Matt Scannell as he watches it outside for strike number 1. Now, it's already 2 hits out of the lower third of the lineup, Devin, a very promising sign, something the Cotuit Kettleers did not have when they hosted Harwich just last week. There's a swing and a miss, and it goes off the glove of Cannon Peoples out of NC State. Last matchup between the Kettleers and the Mariners, despite those 4 runs on the board early for Cotuit, 7 hits from their 1 through 4 hitters, not a single hit from the rest of that lineup. It was something marvelous that the Mariners got. It was mostly because of 5 combined scoreless innings out of Jacob Gomez and Brian Zeldin. Meanwhile, Cam deals a swinging strikeout here to Matt Scannell as he falls to 1 for 2 on the night. 4 strikeouts thus far for Cotuit pitching, and 3 straight out of the bullpen here from Cam Schulke of the College of Central Florida.
Yeah, he looks really locked in. Everything's working for him. His control's been impeccable, and just hitting his spots, he's able to tie up Harwich hitters with a nice sequence. 3 straight strikeouts. Kind of reminds me of that Aiden Moza performance we saw a few nights ago when he struck out 6 of the 9 he faced.
Moza and Sean Hart out of Boston College also combining for a hefty number of scoreless frames as well, something that the Mariners have dominated with, particularly during that 5-game winning streak. Now it's up to Andrew Yu with nobody on and 1 away. Chopped up towards the right side, charging in Petre. He scoops and fires over to first, and it's in time. So Cole Mathis giving up 2 earned runs on 4 hits in 2 1/3 innings in his latest start on the season, but Cam Schulke, the JUCO product, not looking phased one bit. It's 4 straight retired with 3 strikeouts and a ground out, as well as Ali Camarillo. Been consistent here tonight, tries to provide an answer.
And it appears as if Chris Lotito will be up in the bullpen for the Mariners. Not sure if he's going to start the 5th inning for the Mariners or what. And Coach Englert wants to talk something over with Camarillo. You don't see this too much. I think maybe the first or second time we've seen this all season with the manager coming out of the dugout to call time.
Harwich averaging just about 4.5 runs per game. Second fewest home runs here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Meanwhile, the Mariners facing a Cotuit pitching staff that has a top 3 ERA in the Cape Cod Baseball League this season. Cotuit team ERA at just under 3.3. Radically different from what it faced last night, albeit it was held to 1 run against a very struggling Chatham team that has been kind of like a conveyor belt with just the players that has come and gone over in Chatham. Fastball fired on the outer half for strike 1 here to Camarillo. Single to left center, back in the second. The Mariners had 2 hits there after getting 2 in the opening frame. But since that, they have been scoreless here against a Cotuit team that has been relentless in getting back into this one. And, you know, you think back to when the first time the Mariners and the Anglers met, it was here at White House Field this season. Mariners had a 3-run lead going into the late frames. Chatham was relentless as Camarillo skies this one out towards left center field. Matheson running to his right. He makes the catch for a 1-2-3 inning here for the College of Central Florida reliever in Cam Schulke. The sidewinder gets a strikeout, a ground out, and a flyout as the Mariners go down quietly. 5th inning coming your way with the Mariners and the Kettleers tied at 2 here from White House Field. We'll be back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Into the 5th inning here at White House Field. The Kettleers visiting the Mariners for the first time on the season. And they'll face a new pitcher in Chris Latito at 6'1", $195. The redshirt sophomore out of Middletown, New Jersey. The former Seton Hall transfer was one of the best closers in the Atlantic Sun Conference this season. He threw season-high 2 1/3 innings, with just one allowed earned run in that 9-3 win against Brewster in the midst of that 5-game winning streak, Devin. And certainly a strong start out of Shea Sprague, all the while holding the Kettleers, one of the top scoring teams in the league, to just 2 runs.
Yeah, and that's not an easy task to do, and all Shea Sprague's starts have come against the top 2 teams in the Cape Cod Baseball League, 2 against the YD Red Sox and 1 against Cotuit. We'll see what he's able to do here. Well, we saw what he was able to do here and did a fantastic job of keeping this game within reach, and now he'll pass things over to Chris Latito. We haven't seen this early in a ball game, if I'm not mistaken, so we'll see how he fares.
Lofted foul to the left side here for James McCoy. The right fielder struck out swinging against Sprague back in the 2nd. An inning in which Cotuit brought 5 to the plate and left 2 on. The 0-1 lofted back. So it wasn't a scoreless outing for Sprague in his 3rd outing on the season, as Devin began to dig into. It was 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 earned runs, 4 hits in 4 innings. Here's a 2-strike pitch, tapped over towards the right side. Quick play for Humphrey at 2nd and on to 1st, and it's in time to retire the leadoff man here in the 5th. So McCoy falls to 0 for 2, and Humphrey really not looking phased as he usually starts in center field.
Yeah, like I was talking about earlier, he's lockdown defense no matter where you put him. Continues to just make plays, and his speed is his biggest weapon. Finds ways to get to just about any ball hitting his area code, and another really nice play there on a slow roller.
Kalai Harrison has moved the ball a little bit here today. Came around to score in an RBI double as he takes a strike here from Latito. Harrison, the former Texas A&M transfer and at NC State this season, certainly had a successful year as it goes outside to go to 1-1, native of Honolulu, Hawaii. 37 walks with 61 hits for the Wolfpack this season, hit .313. That one bounced well in front of home plate here from Latito. Now 2-1 with 1 down and none on here. Mariners and Kettleers meeting for the 2nd time here on the season. A convincing win over in Cotuit after the Mariners took a dominant 12-2 victory against the Orleans Firebirds. It seemed as if the Mariners had really begun to find a lot of momentum. Then the next thing you know, Kalai Harrison, or rather Kalen Culpepper and Hunter Fitzgerald were out in addition to Seaver King. 2 of those going to Team USA. 3-1 lobbed over towards left center field. Sauke making the catch, and he's looked really solid and commanding the outfield here in his season debut as well, as they're now 2 down here to start the 5th.
Yeah, and Sauke, a tremendous outfielder. It seems like Virginia has a plethora of fantastic outfielders. A former Mariner, Ethan O'Donnell, from last summer plays center for Virginia, and I'm pretty sure he got whatever the Golden Glove Award is in college for Virginia. He was fantastic, or at least was a finalist. And then you got Sauke, Ethan Anderson, who may show up at some point. We shall see.
So 2 quick down here for the first reliever out of the Mariners bullpen in Latito. Meanwhile, the Mariners 6-3 at home this season with a 3.5 ERA. Cotuit hitting on the road, not too shabby at just .243, but the pitching has really spelled success for the Kettleers, 7-2 away from Lowell Park. A 2.58 road ERA for the Kettleers.
And yeah, O'Donnell did win that Rawlings Gold Glove Award. So we'll keep him coming from Virginia. A nice pipeline.
Shot out towards left center field. 2 going back to the wall. And it goes down for a base hit here. This could be extra bases for Ryan Galaney, as he almost thought about 3rd and now scampers back into 2nd. So a 2-out double here for the 2-hole hitter in Galaney after launching his 3rd home run on the season. And he certainly give the Mariners pitching staff fits thus far.
We'll take The first 2 outs, certainly so, but now you got to dive into the heart of the order since the inning has been prolonged. Lotito going to be put to the test. He's been pretty solid in high-pressure situations. We saw him come in, I forget when it was, but was able to get a big strikeout with the bases loaded and always just so cool and collected. We'll see what he can do here against Thatch, who's another guy who can make you pay.
Low fastball that time from Lotito. Thatch off to an 0 for 2 start here tonight. Native of Belvedere, North Carolina, has 13 hits, nearly 50 at-bats, with 8 strikeouts for the Kettleers this season. One of the teams, there's a nice breaking ball in the inner corner. Meanwhile, one of the league's best hitting teams this season, not to mention a sparkling ERA. So now Lotito out of the stretch for the first time here after the 2-out double from Galaney. There's a swing and a miss. Again, Lotito going with a low curveball. So it's 1-2 here to Thatch. Kettleers left a runner at third and Matheson back in the fourth as the go-ahead run. Breezy one here at White House Field tonight. The 1-2. Skied out towards center field. Sauke out of Virginia trots to his right as the Rochester, New York native makes the catch for a loud final out here in the top half of the fifth. So once again, an extra base hit here from Ryan Galaney, but he gets left stranded in scoring position as the Kettleers bring forward to the plate. They score no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leave one in scoring position. Still 2-2, halfway home here from Harwich going into the bottom of the fifth. It's Harwich 2 and it's Cotuit 2 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. So the Mariners went down in order back in the fourth, but they now look to the top of their lineup in Jacob Humphrey, Casey Sauke, and Kennedy Jones. Tied with the best hitting team and the best pitching team in the Cape Cod Baseball League in the Cotuit Kettleers at 13-5, 7-2 on the road. Jacob Humphrey stepping up here. Fastball fired in on the outer half for strike number 1. Unique delivery from the first reliever out of the Cotuit bullpen in Cam Schulke, a native of Michigan but plays college ball down in Central Florida at the junior college level. And I have to wonder with how he is able to control the edges with the slider that has gotten the Mariners down on strikes, in addition to that fastball. I wonder how soon it is before he maybe garners some interest here in one of the finest, if not the finest league for collegiate players in America. So 1-2 here to Jacob Humphrey. The UMass Lowell product has been heating up as of late. And there's a swing and a miss. Another slider fired on the upper half from the reliever in Cam Schulke, as it's his 4th strikeout already in his latest relief appearance, and there's one away.
Excuse me, he's had everything working for him. His 4th strikeout already, and he's faced just 6 batters. If you've got control like that, he's going to get to have a lengthy appearance in this ball game. We shall see. It's a tie game. Exciting.
2 runs on 5 hits for Cotuit, 2 runs on 4 for the Mariners as Casey Sauke hacks and misses at a slider for strike 1. The lateral movement from the submarine arm in Schulke has been quite captivating thus far. Works out that slanted stance still with nobody on, but he's out of the stretch. This time a fastball that just floats low. Sauke with a leadoff or a double to center field back in the first, grounded out to second back in the third. Slight shift applied here from Cotuit. roped back. Peebles thought he had it for a moment, but instead Salke would be protecting. Cotuit with the second most RBIs in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Harwich pitching is held strong here tonight, riding 4 innings in a strong start from Shea Sprague, the southpaw, set to go to North Carolina. 1-2 just goes outside. Mariners trying to avoid the strikeouts here, just over halfway through, have 5 strikeouts thus far. The 2-2. Golfed foul.
And a common theme I'm seeing from Schulke is a lot of his pitches start on the inside or the middle of the plate and move off away from the plate. So Harwich hitters, especially in particular the right-handers, have to pick up on that and either step into it or sit on it.
2-2. Fastball zips outside. Meanwhile, for Casey Salke, already off to a strong start here after wrapping up his second season at Virginia under longtime Cavaliers head coach Brian O'Connor. Meanwhile, the payoff pitch, a swing and a miss. A slider again here from Schulke as he picks up his 5th strikeout here, as Salke was way ahead of that one, and there are 2 down here by the way of the strikeout.
And those pitches are just like levitating. They're like UFOs just coming into the plate. They are so slow but have so much movement. And Harwich just swinging right over them.
It's a funny verb you use. Actually, just over the loudspeakers here in the inning break, Levitating by Dua Lipa was playing. I don't know if you heard it.
I did not. Just a coincidence, I guess.
Just a coincidence. Kennedy Jones up here. Grounded out to first back in the first. Reach as a hit batsman in the 3rd inning. He's quickly ahead in the count here. Just going back to Salke, a huge RBI producer in his second season at Virginia with 46. Schulke just missing the box again. It's 3-0 here. Jones has certainly been heralded for his RBI production as well this season, already with 14 coming into today. The 12 hits as well, as he takes it just high and inside for a 4-pitch walk. Oh, that's a rare sight from Cam Schulke, who's really shown a lot of command and been getting a hit in the counts thus far, and that brings up Lorenzo Carrier here with 2-away.
And that's the first time we've seen a base runner off Schulke, but a dangerous hitter in Carrier. And let me tell you, if Schulke hangs one of these at the letters, one of these breaking balls, Carrier could take it 500 feet. So we'll see how he approaches him in this at-bat.
Well, he was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts last night against Chatham, looking for a different kind of night here. In his last 5 games, the Bear Delaware product with 2 hits, 4 RBIs, and 3 walks as he tries to break a stalemate here. All knotted at 2. Now the first pitch line back. Single to center field back in the first. Walked in the 3rd, already off to a good start here tonight. The Mariners just with 4 hits thus far, however. I remember one of his former Miami teammates and a pitcher in J.P. Gates said that he was probably the biggest guy he had seen with the bat. One of the hardest hitters at Miami over the past couple of seasons. One and one here with 2 outs and 1 on. 2-out walk from Kennedy Jones. Carrier at Miami this past season, 4 home runs, aside from 4 doubles and 2 triples. It's a huge bat to have in the lineup, maintaining his place in the cleanup spot. Meanwhile, Mason Guerra starting to work his way up. Jack Goodman out of the lineup card here today. The Mariners have gotten a good sense of hitting thus far. Tapped up and back over towards the mounds. Schulke moving to his right on the back hop, and he makes the play over to first. But that will close out the inning here as the Mariners leave a runner on as they strike out twice and score no runs on no hits, no errors, and leave Jones after the 2-out walk. Still 2-2 between the Mariners and the Kettleers going into the 6th here at White House Field. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Chris Latito back on the mound for his second inning of relief here. After a 4-inning start out of Shea Sprague, his third on the season, gave up 2 earned runs, 4 hits, pair of walks, and 3 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Latito out of Jacksonville, he's set to face Caleb Lomavita, Carter Matheson, Cannon Peoples in the middle third of the order. There's a beautiful breaking ball that just goes off the outer half. Strike one, or rather ball one here to Lomavita. 1 for 2 here today after a single back in the first. All Pac-12 first team honoree, Lomavita, native of Hawaii. 5'11", 200 here from Cal Berkeley. Skied over towards the left side. Guerra running into foul territory. Now trots back and he drops the ball. Bit of a blunder. The Mariners have been susceptible to mistakes in the infield, most particularly last night, a season-high 4 errors. And instead of a quick first out here in the 6th, it's going to be 2-1.
Yeah, that stinks. And it looked like Guerra had a little trouble getting to the spot. I'm not sure if it was the umpire. I don't think Mike Mackey was really in the way. Just got a late break on the ball and didn't have enough time to settle under it. And, yeah, that's just, unfortunately, a tough break for Harwich. Luckily, not fair territory.
Well, it goes to 2-2 here to Lomavita after he was ahead in the count. 2-0. The 2-2. Lofted foul. Lomavita out of Cal in the Pac-12. A freshman All-American. First Cal freshman to earn all-conference first-team honors since Andrew Vaughn back in 2017. There's a swing and a miss. The drop third strike from you as he zips it down to first. And there's a strikeout, the first here for Latito. And what's marveling here, Devin, the hitting has really quieted down thus far. Just 2 hits combined between these teams from the middle frames, and it's 1 in each of the 4th and the 5th from Cotuit as Latito tries for a 1-2-3 job.
Yeah, and Harwich, consistent offense, been a problem for them. They were able to jump on them early thanks to a couple hits, but other than that, really just can't get anything going. We'll see what they got in the second half of the ball game, but 2 runs not going to win a baseball game, especially not this one.
Still tied at 2 after the Mariners answered back with 2 runs in the bottom of the first. A solo home run from Ryan Galaney in the third, making it a new ball game here. And we've been scoreless since the third. Carter Matheson up, hitting .333 on the season as a 2-0 zips high, and it goes to 3-0 here. Meanwhile, the first strikeout for Mariners pitching, not only the first for Latito, but the first since the top of the second. 3-0, a called strike low on a fastball. 3-1 here to Matheson. 7 for 22 on the season here. Sophomore, native of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Quick pitch from Latito, and that'll bring a payoff pitch. Latito has worked quickly here.
Great job to work his way back from being down on the count 3-0.
311 hitter this season, Matheson at Indiana. 3-2, a swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts here to start the 6th from Latito as the Jacksonville product has settled in here in his latest outing.
And I'm quite frankly surprised Latito hasn't been used more. He's been so successful on the mound. He wastes no time, all business. And, I mean, you see him go down in the count 3-0 there, works his way all the way back, gets his second strikeout. He's been fantastic out of the pen for Harwich. Not necessarily a distance pitcher, but can give you 2 or 3 solid innings, no problem.
Here's Cannon Peoples, the catcher again. And, yeah, it's interesting you mentioned it, Devin. We saw Dylan Delvecchio pitch the final 3 innings of last night's game, an 8-1 loss against Chatham for the Mariners. Meanwhile, Latito just making his 3rd start, Delvecchio with his 5th outing last night. And I should say Latito with his 5th appearance, or his 3rd appearance. Had a season-high 2 1/3 thrown in that 9-3 win against Brewster in the midst of that Mariners 5-game winning streak. 2-1 here to Peoples. Reached on a walk back in the 2nd, grounded out to Sprague back in the 4th. Latito trying for a strikeout on the series here. And instead it's going to be skied out towards right field. Obi moving in after he moved back. The catch is made in right field. And it's a 1-2-3 job here for the Jacksonville reliever. 2 strikeouts and a flyout as Latito sends Cotuit down in order. Still 2-2 going into the home half of the 6th here at White House Field. We'll be back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network.
State, number 33.
Mariners 2, Kettleers 2. Locked in a stalemate since the top of the third. A solo home run from the third baseman Ryan Galaney from Cotuit. As Mason Guerra, Devin Obie, Matt Scannell do up here against Cam Schulke of the College of Central Florida. Sophomore out of Beaverton, Oregon. Guerra, the Oregon State sophomore. He has been on a tear ever since he got to Harwich earlier this week, right before the weekend, on a 3-game hitting streak. And this comes after 22 multiple hit games and 17 multi-RBI outings at Oregon State of the Pac-12. As he sees a slider on the outer half, it goes to 1-1. But he's had a quiet evening thus far. He's certainly due. Devin, strikeout looking back in the first, strikeout swinging in the third. As the Mariners look for answers here. Just 4 hits here tonight.
And you know he wants some vengeance after he dropped that ball in foul territory. Didn't end up being detrimental, but you got to think that's in the back of his head, and he's going to want to put a charge into this baseball.
You're right. You knew he had made at least the ordinary effort to go after it. 2-strike pitch is roped in right field for a base hit. Mason Guerra gets on the board with a hit for the first time here tonight. He's now 1 for 3 as the Mariners have a leadoff hit here to start the 6th.
Really nice piece of hitting. That ball, once again, tailing away into the outer part, the other batter's box. And Guerra able to stay with it, step into it over towards right field, and just punch it right between that 3-4 gap. A really nice single and first Mariner hit in quite some time, Wyatt.
Another chance for Obie to redeem himself here after starting off with 2 swinging strikeouts. One against Schulke, one against the starter and Cole Mathis as he lays a bunt attempt down, but it's tapped back behind home plate.
And right there we see Devin Obie trying to drop down a bunt, but the one thing he did wrong, you're never supposed to drop the top of the bat down when you're bunting. Always got to keep it relatively up. He dropped it down there and couldn't get it down.
And he still found a lot of rhythm at the plate with a 5-game on-base streak to lead the Mariners as they look for a key win here. This time another bunt tried. It stays fair. The third baseman Galaney tries to fire down to first, and it's in time as Guerra moves into scoring position. And the Mariners ripping a page out of the Kettleers playbook, as we saw earlier on. A couple of bunt attempts laid down to move runners around the base paths.
And quite frankly, why I'm a little surprised that Galaney elected to make a play on that ball, because it looked like to me it was going foul. And if it goes foul, then you kind of take the bunt off the table for Obie, because with 2 strikes he bunts a foul again, he's out. So there's much more of a risk involved, and who knows, maybe you have 1 out and still the runner on first. Instead, 1 out, runner on second. I guess you'll take the out, but still in a close game like this, got to be thinking at all the angles.
Mariners with the go-ahead run in scoring position after Guerra reached with a leadoff single to right. As Matt Scannell steps in for the 3rd time, 1 for 2 here today. Single to center back in the 2nd, struck out swinging to start off the 4th as he now works with the oil on the stovetop. 0-1 shot over towards the right side, and it's in foul territory here for Peebles as he'll lose it into the seats.
Big at bat for Scannell. This is his spot. This is where he's produced all season long with runners in scoring position. Golden opportunity to drive in Guerra. And on deck, you got Andrew Yu, another guy who's still finding his identity at the plate, but had an RBI a couple nights ago.
Harwich with its first hit since the 2nd inning in a leadoff single from Guerra. The 0-2 fastball goes high. Cotuit 2, Harwich 2. 2nd meeting on the season here. Scannell hitting 185 through just over 15 games this season. Fog starting to blanket in slowly across the outfields. The floodlights on here at White House Field. The big pitch from Schulke, 1-2. Lofted back behind, and it's going to go foul again.
And Scannell caught reaching for that pitch. Got to be careful and let Schulke come to him, because these pitches are going to break at the last second. If you're able to stay back, he'll be able to drive it, especially with it breaking towards him. Could really tattoo a baseball.
2 hits over the last 5 games with a pair of walks for Scannell, the San Antonio native. Had 2 hits last time against Cotuit at Lowell Park. 1-2 in the dirt. Scannell telling Guerra to hold up. That's the right move here. Peebles with a great block.
Yeah, great block indeed. If that runner gets to third, then Scannell has so many more options on how to drive him in. Now it's going to have to be a base hit.
Scannell with 3 multi-hit games on the season, looking to make it 4 here. The 2-2. Chopped over into the middle infield. Harrison, the former Mariner, fires onto first. And it's in time on the bounce, and that moves Guerra onto third. So aside from the ground out here for Scannell, he brings another valuable at-bat here as the Mariners are 90 feet closer from a 3-2 lead.
So here you go, Andrew Yu, a guy who's struggled this season. He's grounded out to second twice. Once was a double play. Now you got an opportunity for redemption. Just takes one swing. He's called a great game behind the plate. No runs for Cotuit since the third inning, and then one in the first, one in the third. Now a chance to help your pitcher out. Here you go.
6 foot, 220-pound junior out of Nashville, Tennessee. You back in the starting lineup today in the place of Brian Arndt behind home plate. 3 hits thus far through 4 games. 1-1 here. Guerra on third. 2 groundouts moving the Oregon State infielder over into third base. Meanwhile, Cam Schulke already with 5 strikeouts. Needing just one more here to escape a slight jam. Slider swung on a miss. It's 1-2 here to the Duke catcher in Yu. 3-game hitting streak with a hit in each of the past 3. Earned his first walk of the season in his debut on a 5-run road win against the Kettleers. There's a swing and a miss and a huge strikeout here for Cam Schulke. His 6th strikeout in his 4th inning of relief here as the Mariners strand a runner on third in Guerra after a leadoff base hit to right field. The Mariners scoring no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leave 1 stranded. Still 2-2 going into the final innings here from Harwich. Deadlocked between Cotuit and Harwich here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
From Kentucky, number 4, Emilian Petre.
Chris Latito still on the mound here, is yet to give up a run to the Cotuit Kettleers after they got 2 in the early frames against Shea Sprague. Wyatt Kopelman and Devin Dobeck here with you. And Devin, the Mariners bringing no more than 4 to the plate in each of the last 2 innings as I turn it back over to you for the final frames.
Thank you, Wyatt. And yes, it has been a barn burner here. A low-scoring game, though, for that matter. Score 2-2, 5 hits aside, and an error for the Mariners as this one's going to be popped up in the infield. The ball finding Guerra once again. He's right under it in the infield and puts it away amidst all the fog. It's an F5 putout, and there's one away here in the 7th.
Yeah, 5 straight retired here from Latito. He's looked really sharp, and as a matter of fact, he only gave up that 1-out double, or rather 2-out double from Ryan Galaney, who's been red hot at the top of the Cotuit lineup. It's what you expect here for one of the top hitting teams in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Latito has just shown a lot of command with the strikeouts as well.
He's been fantastic. First pitch now to Teo Banks is going to be low for a ball. 1-0. And Banks on the day has struck out swinging and flied out to right. James McCoy on deck. Those are the 3 due up. Of course, with Petre out as this one's going to be whacked foul off to the left. Nice play over by the bullpen. I believe that's Aiden Moza able to haul it in. Of course, a couple guys forced to protect the bullpen guys, and Moza doing his job there. 1-1. Misses high. It's 2-1.
Not sure if Latito will be going past 3 innings. Looks like Zane Probst of Alabama warming up.
Another swing and a miss, 2-2. Really fooled him that time. An uncomfortable swing from Banks since 2-2. And yeah, Probst also a returning Mariner. He was fantastic last season for Harwich, an all-star for that matter. And we'll see what he brings with the assumption he's coming in relief shortly. 2-2 is bounced in the dirt. 3-2. YD on top of Yarmouth Dennis, 3-2 in the top of the 9th from Red Wilson Field. Falmouth leads Wareham 6-4 in the top of the 4th from Spillane Field. Payoff pitch is fouled off. Orleans and Bourne knotted at 2 in the top of the 5th from Doran Park, while the Harbor Hawks are on top of the Anglers 1-0 in the top of the 1st from the Veterans Field. If we have fog here in Harwich, I don't even want to know what's going on in Chatham here tonight. Payoff. Popped up once again in the infield, left side. Guerra under it. He's being called off by Camarillo, and he puts it away. Around the horn they go. 2 up, 2 down here in the 7th. Latito in cruise control, Wyatt.
And as captivating as these relief pitching performances been, you get 4 scoreless innings out of Cam Schulke, and then Latito also controlling the strikeouts nearly as much as Schulke has. These are 2 teams that have been really known for their RBIs this season. And yet you only get 4 combined runs this far. Still a little bit of time to go in this one, however.
No balls and a strike to James McCoy. McCoy on the day has struck out swinging and grounded out to second. A 1 offering is going to be whacked foul off to the left, and it escapes out of play.
And Latito to be able to force a pop out in the infield after falling behind in the count. Now getting ahead 0-2. This is something that has really continued that sense of longevity for him in his 3rd relief outing on the season.
Latito entered in the 5th inning, trying to go 3 strong here for the M's. He surrendered just 1 hit. That was the only base runner he's had. 0-2 pitch is going to be popped foul in the or no, not foul. It's going to be out to left field. Kennedy Jones under it, and he puts it away for out number 3. Chris Latito has faced just 1 more than the minimum in 3 innings. He's been sensational. He'll walk off the field looking for some offense. Time to stretch here at the house. We'll be right back on the other side. 2-2 our score. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back, Devin Dobek, Wyatt Kopelman along with you. Home half of the 7th here into the late innings. Mariners and Kettleers tied at 2. Call to the bullpen. Cam Schulke's night is over. He goes 3 2/3. 1 hit, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts to 1 walk. He was fantastic to keep this game where it is. Both him and Lotito have been in a pitcher's duel ever since they entered the ball game. Cullen McKay, the new wing for the Kettleers. 6'1" right-hander, 210 pounds, out of South Mills, North Carolina. Attends the University of Virginia, making his second appearance, only threw 1/3 of an inning, and was credited with the save thanks to a strikeout that he had. It's a ball and no strikes to Ali Camarillo, the 9-hitter. And that one drops in there for a strike, 1-1. Top of the order on deck. Mariners looking for some offense as this one dwindles down. And Zane Probst loosening in the pen for Harwich. Out of the stretch is McKay. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike, 1-2. And for Harwich, they got to be breathing a sigh of relief that Schulke's night was over. Surrendered just the 1 hit, to Mason Guerra. And other than that, just absolutely nothing doing. 1-2. Just misses low, and it's 2-2. Camarillo singled in the 2nd and flew out to center in the 4th. 1 for 2 on the day. Here comes the 2-2 offering from McKay. Misses outside, 3-2. It'll be Humphrey and Sauke to follow Camarillo. Fog continues to roll in very lightly here at White House. Payoff pitch. In there, strike 3. Camarillo is rung up, and he's been rung up, I think, 3 times in the last 2 games. He'd already thrown his bat thinking he had ball 4. But he is punched out. First strikeout for Cullen McKay, and a big one to start off the 7th. It'll be Jacob Humphrey's turn. Humphrey on the day, 0 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch, came around to score. First 2 batters of the game scored for Harwich, and Humphrey and Sauke. 1-0 is the count now, and Humphreys also flied out to center and struck out swinging. Here comes the 1-0 to Humphrey. It misses low, 2-0. Mariners and the Kettleers deadlocked. The error, of course, was on Guerra in foul territory, so not really anything detrimental, especially when you compare it to last night. 2-0, runs inside 3-0, and this is the last guy you want to walk. If you're Cotuit, he can fly around the base paths, and top of the order right behind him, Harwich could really find a way to make something happen here. McKay comes set, looking to groove one here, 3-0. Misses way up and away. A 4-pitch walk issued. And now the speedy Jacob Humphrey on base for the 2nd time tonight. Last time he was on, he scored. He represents the leading run.
Center fielder from Virginia, number 26, Casey Sauke.
So it will be Casey Sauke's turn. Sauke on the day is 1 for 3. He doubled in the 1st inning. Came around to score. He's also grounded out and struck out swinging. They check on the runner and Humphrey. He's back in there safely. Sauke trying to move along Humphrey. Humphrey was almost picked off in the 1st. He's going to have to be careful against this Cotuit team. As Sauke rips it into right field for a base hit. Humphrey rounding 2nd, headed for 3rd. And he will be in there with a slide, a hook slide, and almost got cleated in the process. He appears to be okay. Runners on the corners now after Casey Sauke delivers again his 2nd hit of the ball game. And the Mariners with runners on the corners here with one away.
You know, people talk a lot about Griffo Farrell, Ethan Anderson. We even mentioned O'Donnell back earlier in the game broadcast, Devin, but Casey Sauke is one name to watch here in the lineup. He's going to provide a lot of that explosive contact hitting with 1 or 2 outs.
And a bummer for Petre, as he was a step and a dive away from being able to snag that line drive, just unfortunately playing a little too close to the bag, looking for the double play ball. And now the Mariners with a scoring opportunity. The leading RBI man, Kennedy Jones, he has 14, looking for 15 would be a big one here. First pitch misses outside, 1-0. The infield is on the grass for the Kettleers. They do not want this run to come in, and Humphrey, and he's got some serious speed, so a slow roller could potentially do it. A lot of ways to get him in here. Sauke over at first. Also got to pay attention to him. Cotuit wanting to keep this game tight. 1-0 offering set to come from Colin McKay, and it's fouled off. Sauke was taking off for second to make it second and third, but Kennedy Jones fouled it off, and it's 1-1. Some confusion on the Harwich bench. They didn't know what happened. They thought it was just a pass ball. Ball and a strike. Sauke on first, Humphrey on third. Here comes the 1-1 to Kennedy Jones. Fouled off again. Sauke was in motion once more. He's getting his steps in over there on the base path, and it's 1-2.
And I wouldn't be surprised with the RBI capabilities of Kennedy Jones if the Mariners do try for a hit and run, with the chance that you could bring home Sauke, but also, or not Sauke, move him to scoring position, bring home Humphrey with his speed on the base pass.
Kennedy Jones, the 2023 Golden Spikes preseason watch list member. Preseason All-SoCon first team as well. Big at-bat for him. Here comes the 1-2. Missed up high. Kennedy Jones really wanted to take a hack at that, but restrained himself. I think got up on his tippy toes a little bit. Thought about climbing the ladder and thought otherwise. A smart decision as this fog continues to roll in here at White House. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sauke on first, Humphrey on third. Here's the pitch. There goes Sauke, and it's going to be flared over to first base, and it's a room service double play to end the inning for the Kettleers. Jones got jammed and flared it very softly over to Tanner Thatch. He caught it and stepped on the bag to double up Sauke. So the Mariners' best scoring opportunity since the first inning is shut down. A really nice job by McKay to get out of it. We head to the 8th. 2-2 our score. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back on the other side of the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Top of the 8th inning, in the fog more than tangible now here at White House. Zane Probst, a familiar face back to the hill for the Harwich Mariners. Last season for the Mariners, Zane Probst went 1-0 with a 3.09 ERA. 9 games, 3 starts, a save, 23 1/3 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts to 11 walks, and 23 hits. First pitch to his former teammate Kalai Harrison in there for a strike. It's 0-1. And Probst, a guy who arguably was, quote-unquote, the ace for the Mariners at points last season, was the guy who you'd count on to go out and go 5-6 strong and allow 1 run, maybe 2. He was fantastic, and so we'll see what he brings here tonight. So ball and a strike now to Harrison, as this one's cut on a miss, 1-2, and Zane Probst was at Seton Hall before coming to Harwich last season, and then transferred to Alabama, went 2-1 for the Crimson Tide with a 4.08 earned run average, 17 2/3 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts to 13 walks, and 16 hits. 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
He threw 91 pitches against Wareham in a 7-inning start. I think he's capable of doing at least half that here if he ended up relieving the whole game.
2-2. In there, strike 3. Down goes Harrison. That will be out number 1 here to start the 8th inning, and some paint from Zane Probst. There's one away. We'll recap the line for Chris Lotito. He was fantastic. 3 complete innings of work. No runs, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, and no walks. He was sensational, Wyatt. Chris Lotito.
I mean, he continued to cruise after Shea Sprague got into a little bit of trouble, still worked his way out of jams. But you and I were talking about Probst and what stood out about him most during our quick break here. And you said he was able to throw hard, but certainly didn't have the most velocity and still got a strikeout looking. A great way to start off here for Harwich.
0-1 is going to be slapped foul, 0-2. Ryan Galaney, the ever-dangerous Kettleer, up. He's had himself a day 2 for 3. He's grounded out to third and then homered and doubled. His home run stands as the tying run for the Kettleers, a big fly out to left. That was off the starter, Shea Sprague. 0-2 pitch. Misses outside, 1-2. And Probst, very accountable for every one of his pitches, really takes exception to missing his spots, and you're going to see him give you everything he's got day in and day out on the mound. 1-2. Fouled off. We'll do it again. Red Sox did defeat the Whitecaps 3-2 from Red Wilson Field, so they will retain first place no matter what in the East standings tonight. Falmouth still on top of Wareham 7-5 in the 5th. Hyannis leads Chatham 1-0 in the 2nd, and Orleans leading Bourne 3-2 in the 5th. It's going to be 2-2 now. Two pitch from Probst is going to be lifted high and deep out to center field. Sauke ranging back to his left now, backpedaling under it, and makes the play for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Zane Probst. And the Kettleers have had, I believe, just 1 base runner dating all the way back to the 4th inning. They've had just 2 since the 3rd. This Mariners pitching staff really taking it to one of the best lineups in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
It's been 11 of the last 12 retired as well. Give a lot of credit for Lotito, just being able to get ahead in counts, battle back out of some counts as well, work some strikeouts with 3-2s, 2-1 counts as well. His defense has been moving behind him.
0-1 misses outside. It's 1-1. Caleb Lomavita awaits on deck. Kettleers only with 4 outs left before extras would be necessary. It's 2 balls and a strike, now with 2 away.
And also you get 2 1-2-3 jobs out of Lotito. Certainly forces that initiative in order to find some runners in scoring position here for Harwich.
2-1. Misses inside. That actually got a piece of Al Bonsdale's foot. He appears to be okay. Took it like a champ, and it's 3-1 now. Probst trying to retire the side in order, but in jeopardy of a walk. 3-1 is cut on a miss. 3-2 now. He battles his way back. Tanner Thatch on the day 0 for 3, struck out in the first, grounded out to second in the 3rd, and flew out to center in the 5th. 3-2. Chopped over to the right and foul. We'll do it again. Fog has subsided just a bit here, knock on wood. Big pitch coming, the payoff. Swung on and missed. Zane Probst, 2 strikeouts in the inning and his return to Harwich. 1-2-3 they go in the 8th. And the Mariners trying to keep themselves alive for a dramatic win at White House. 2-2 our score. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the other side of the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Designated hitter from Miami, number 35, Lorenzo Carrier.
Lorenzo Carrier, the cleanup hitter, due up for the M's. Back out there is Cullen McKay. Carrier followed by Guerra and then Devin Obi. 2-2 ball game in the bottom of the 8th. First pitch is going to be in there for a strike to Carrier. It's 0-1. Carrier on the day has singled, walked, and grounded out to the pitcher. See what he's able to do here. He got the second run for the Mariners on his RBI single to drive in Sauke. It's a ball and a strike to the Miami power hitter. Not a lot of offense since the first third of the ball game. We've been pretty stagnant. Both teams started with about 4 hits each through 3 innings, and there's been maybe one aside since. Maybe Cotuit have one in the 4th, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, it has been just a tooth and nail dogfight. Here comes the 2-1 offering. And it's going to be whacked off to the right. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Carrier.
Lots of credible pitching here. And regardless of who wins this one, I think both managers are going to be pretty happy with the quick outs they were able to get. Mariners have sent Cotuit down in order in the last 3 innings.
2-2 to Carrier, set to come. Just missed outside, 3-2. A walk would be as good as a hit here for Carrier. Get that leadoff man on, and then you have options to explore. Payoff pitch coming. And it's going to be chopped over to the shortstop. Sprinting in is Harrison on the run. Fires on the first, and it's in time. A 6-3 putout to begin the 8th here, and there's 1 away.
Third baseman from Oregon State.
Mariners going down on an L3 double play in which Casey Sauke was doubled up. It was a particular hit-and-run opportunity to look for with just 1 out, but it's high risk, high reward. You said it earlier in the game. Cotuit loves to take those small angles as well and look for those push and drag bunts. And it's worked well relatively for both sides, but the Mariners getting stung that time as they now have the no bases filled here.
Here's Guerra, singled in his last at-bat. This time he chops it softly over to the second baseman, Petre, and it will be out number 2, a 4-3 putout, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, there's 2 away here in the 8th.
Colin McKay's done a really good job of settling in as well. Really picked it up well from Schulke, and you get 4 scoreless innings. That's got to be the best outing of the year for Schulke as well. Really commanding with that low-speed slider and the fastball that's been commanding the corners.
Obi on the day has struck out twice and dropped down a sacrifice bunt. He's 0 for 2. Here comes the first pitch to him. Outside for a ball, 1-0. And just as a gentle reminder, if this game does go to extras, just 1 inning of extras with a ghost runner on second. That will be it. Otherwise, the game will be a point apiece and end in a tie. 1-0 is going to be hit over towards the Bat Boys, and it'll be 1-1. Matt Scannell on deck. He's got some serious pop. He begins the bottom 3 in that Harwich order. Cotuit, on the other hand, going to be headed into the heart of their order, 4 through 6 coming up in the 9th. 1-1. In there for a strike, a breaking ball that just caught the outer edge, and it's 1-2. Great ball game here at White House. These two teams in a ferocious pitching duel. Here comes the 1-2 from McKay. And it's going to be ripped over the second baseman's head into center field for a base hit. Devin Obi trying to ignite some life into his squad with a 2-out rally. He's on first here with 2 away.
The Mariners averaging just under 8 hits per game here on the season. And although they haven't had the league's most fire-filled offense, they've had Devin Obi, and it's hard to imagine where he'd be or where the Mariners would be without him right now. As looks like Robert's going to have a word here with McKay.
Might be more than a word. Might be one of his tactical mound visits to buy some time for his reliever. We shall see. But definitely want to talk things over. There's 2 away here in the 8th, so I would be shocked if he was to pull the trigger right now.
I think this is the end of the line here. That's it for McKay. I think Roberts has made the sign.
He has, so that will be it. We'll go to the bullpen and come back on the other side. 2-2, the Mariners with a runner on and 2 away. Be right back on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Call to the bullpen for the Kettleers. Rafe Schlesinger is going to be the new pitcher out of the University of Miami. Night is over for Colin McKay. We'll get to his line after it closes in the 9th inning. But Schlesinger, a lefty, which makes sense for Roberts to make the move now with a lefty and Matt Scannell digging in. Of course, a matchup game, taking out the righty to make it a lefty-on-lefty matchup. See what Scannell can do. Schlesinger takes a look over at first. Obi back in there easily. On the year, he's 1-0 with a 1.5 ERA. He's appeared 5 times for the Kettleers, 12 innings pitched, a pair of saves, and just 2 earned runs surrendered to go along with 13 strikeouts, 3 walks. He's been fantastic. No balls and a strike. Now to Matt Scannell, the 7-hitter, as another one is just grooved right down the middle, and it's 0-2.
Very capable of giving a high volume of strikes in addition to 15 scoreless outings at Miami this season. Actually pitched 7 innings of scoreless relief in the Coral Gables Regional.
There goes the runner in OB, but it will be strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night from Rafe Schlesinger to set down Matt Scannell. That's how the 8th inning ends. It's going to have to be a miraculous win for the Mariners if they want to pull it off. Kettleers coming up for their potential last licks here in the 9th. We'll be back on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Caleb Lomavita, Carter Matheson, and Cannon Peebles due up for the Kettleers here in the 9th inning. Zabe Probst back to work. The Mariners going to have to win it in walk-off fashion here at White House if they want to win it at all. This one's lifted out to Casey Selke on the first pitch, and it's 4 up, 4 down for Zane Probst here. An F8 to start things in the 9th.
Yeah, and this is a part of the lineup that is more than due here, Devin. No hits for the middle third of the order since the 4th inning. It has been an excellent outing out of Chris Latito, and picking up right away Zane Probst. I mean, seems like he never really missed a beat despite missing a third of the season here for the Mariners.
Matheson on the day, 1 for 3, flied out to center. He singled and struck out swinging. That single came back in the 4th as Probst rocks, and here's the 1-0 offering. It's outside for a ball, 2-0.
Matheson very capable of working deep counts here. He's done it twice on payoff pitches today.
Probst kicks and delivers once more. That one finally finds the zone. It's 2-1. Great game here at White House. Just 2 hours and 16 minutes into this one already, and it is going to be a storybook finish. 3 balls and a strike now from Probst. We'll see if he can work his way back. Matheson, an outfielder for the Kettleers, this season has swiped 4 bases, so not someone you want to walk on. Unfortunately, that will be the case here. Dangerous base runner takes his way down to first and almost undoubtedly will be put in motion, whether it's this batter or the next.
And I'd be surprised if Probst even gives up a run here. I mean, he had 14 scoreless outings this season. He throws hard, he gets quick outs, but just unable to catch up that time, as that ends a streak of, I believe, 11 straight retired by Mariners pitching.
First pitch is going to be in there for a strike on the outer half. It's 0-1. Peebles on the day has walked, dropped down a sacrifice bunt, and flied out to right. Be a righty on lefty matchup. Probst trying to battle his way through this ninth inning and give his team a chance. Here's the 0-1. In there once again for a strike. Similar location, it's 0-2. Chatham jumping in front of Hyannis, 4-1 in the third. No other real changes to the other games. Probst comes set at the waist. The pitch is going to be fouled back right off the end of the bat. Nice defensive swing that time from Peebles. And so stay alive at 0-2. Probst down to the stretch, dangles the arm, now comes set at the belt. Surveys, and now we'll try a pickoff attempt over at Matheson, but he's back in there without a slide. Look for Cotuit to run very shortly. They're not very patient with moving base runners around with the bat. They like to do it in ways that are unconventional, typically. I guess stolen bait's not unconventional, but not as frequent, rather. 0-2 once again after the foul. 7 hits for the Mariners, 5 for the Kettleers. 2 runs aside and an error for Harwich. Here comes another 0-2 from Probst. Breaking ball just missed. It might have been a little up and in. That was a pitcher's pitch, and credit to the hitter and Peebles, not biting. He'll stay alive to see one more. Here comes the 1-2, and it's going to be jam shot foul off to the left, and Peebles doing everything he can to extend this at-bat and make Probst dig deep into the count. Harwich is unable to score, and this game goes to extras. The pitch count could be something to watch out for Probst. He has made a handful of starts, so shouldn't be a big issue, but even still, just the fatigue and stamina issue. 1-2 is going to be fouled off himself. Peebles fighting off pitch after pitch. I believe he's fouled off 3 pitches with 2 strikes on him.
And he has yet to strike out today, certainly representing how hard it is to strike out for the Mariners pitching, just the second fewest in the Cape Cod Baseball League in case.
1-2 coming. Misses outside, 2-2. Petray on deck for the Kettleers as they delve into the bottom handful of their order. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Probst wins the battle. There's 2 away here in the 9th.
The Mariners might have just found one of their better combinations in the bullpen besides Sean Hard, in addition to Aiden Moza. I mean, Zane Probst seriously has a good deal of command, just be able to bounce back. Now 3 strikeouts in the last 6 here for the Cotuit Kettleers lineup.
Andrew Yu going to make his way out to the mound to talk things over with his pitcher in Probst, as well as R.J. Thomas, who's going to jog out there and just need the 1 out. Then your team has a chance for a heroic win. We shall see.
And if Harwich ends up going to another pitcher in the 10th inning, should it get to that point, don't think you'd see Dylan Delvecchio, but the Mariners, they've not really been using a high number of pitchers over the past couple of days, just used 2 last night, and one of those, in Andrew Armstrong, is already out the door here.
Probst checking his pitch comm, now steps onto the rubber. Emilian Petray on the day, 0 for 2 with a walk. Take a look over at the runner on first. He's back in there safely. That is Matheson. Petray's grounded out to second and then flied out to third base. First pitch to him misses outside, 1-0. Keep an eye on the base runner. Matheson likely to be set in motion at some point soon. Into the 9th inning here. Good crowd here in Harwich. Not a sellout by any means, especially now that it's gotten cooler and the sweatshirts have gone on, but it's a 1-1 count to Petrie. 1-1 pitch. Misses inside, 2-1. Probst still trying to hit those spots. He's just missing them on the inner part of the plate. And a little difficult with these lefty hitters. We'll see what he comes back with. 2-1 pitch. Bounced in the dirt. 3-1 rather. On deck is Teo Banks for the Kettleers. He's 0 for 3. Three balls, one strike. Here's the pitch. It's going to be popped up in the infield. Guerra over and under it, right in front of Camarillo, and he puts it away for out number 3. Welp, here you go. It's winning time here in Harwich. We head to the bottom of the 9th. Knotted at 2 as Probst goes 2 strong innings. Now a chance for his team to win the ball game in front of the home crowd. We'll take a quick break and be back for the bottom of the 9th. Shipping up to Boston, taking us out here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Pinch hitting and leading off for Harwich in the bottom of the 9th.
Pinch hitter coming up here with the Mariners and the Kettleers tied at 2. It's Brian Arndt as the Mariners look to walk it off here against the southpaw of Miami in Rafe Schlesinger. Devin Doback well back in time here as it's going to be a lefty-righty battle.
As Arndt grounds this one up the middle and into center field, the pinch hitter pays off. It's a leadoff single, and the Mariners are in business here in the bottom of the 9th. Great move by Steve Engler at that time.
And although you was a right-hander, Devin, they wanted to go with Arndt, who is maybe a little more capable of going with the ground ball contact past the infield, can ill afford groundouts here against Schlesinger. One of his strengths is just that ground ball induced contact with also being a left-hander against a righty-field Mariners lineup.
So it'll be Ali Camarillo's turn. He was the hero in the last walk-off win against the Chatham Anglers. We'll see. He's going to look to bunt as this pitch is way outside. It's 1-0. So it looks like Harwich going to try and take another page out of the book of the Cotuit Kettleers and Mike Roberts. Camarillo on the day, 1 for 3 with a single. He's also flied out center and struck out looking. Showing bunt again, couldn't get it down. Did he go? Yes, so says the first base umpire, Tony Carilli. It's a ball and a strike now. Crowd on the edge of their seat waiting for what could be a heroic finish here at White House. Arndt with a subtle lead off first. Here's the pitch. Camarillo gets the bunt down, but he gets it down foul. And it's swatted aside by the catcher in Peebles. And now Camarillo is going to have to be careful if he still elects to bunt. He's got a ball and 2 strikes on him. Foul ball will be an out.
I don't think it's worth it here if you're Camarillo. Someone very capable of getting contact on the ground here. and favored in a righty-lefty matchup.
Schlesinger trying to get out of it. He ground ball over to the shortstop on the second for one, over to first. Safe. It looked for a second as if Tony Carrilli was going to call him out, but he was in there by a step. And so it'll be a fielder's choice for Camarillo, and the Mariners still have life here in the ninth.
Second baseman from UMass Lowell, number 36, Jacob Humphrey.
So Jacob Humphrey's turn. Mike Roberts going to make his way out to the hill. Not sure if he's going to make a move here. Schlesinger's, oh, he will. So we're going to get a call to the bullpen. Not wasting any time here. Kettleers all business in the ninth. We'll take a quick break and step aside. New pitcher coming back on the other side. 2-2. Mariners in business, looking for a win here. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. It's going to be Noah Ruin who enters the ball game for the Cotuit Kettleers. Devin Dobek, Wyatt Kopelman along with you in a thrilling ball game here in Harwich. 2-2 in the ninth. Runner on first for the M's. And Ruin, a lights-out closer, trying to slam the door on the Mariners and send this to extras. The batter will be Jacob Humphrey. They take a look over at Camarillo, who's back in there with a head-first dive. First pitch set to come to the UMass Lowell Riverhawk. And nope, they'll take a look over at first. And the numbers this season for Ruin, a 1.80 ERA. 10 innings pitched. He's given up 10 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 saves. And his whip is 1.00. He comes set. He's got that sidearm delivery similar to what we saw from Schulke, but just a little higher, as there goes the runner in Camarillo. The throw down is going to be not in time. Wow. Peebles can't believe it. It was a strike down to second base, and wow, that was a crazy chain of events. Camarillo digging it out, and now he's in scoring position. Wyatt, what'd you see there?
Well, you didn't see Humphrey swinging either. That would have maybe thrown off Peebles a little bit, but still you get a runner in scoring position with the game-running run now in scoring position. The middle of the infield, rather the right side of the infield is wide open.
Here comes the 0-1 offering to Jacob Humphrey. It's in there for a strike, 0-2.
And that takes the bunt opportunity out of play, really.
Jacob Humphrey, set. Here's the pitch. In there, strike 3. 3 pitches to end Jacob Humphrey's at-bat. He goes down looking here, and he will be the first strikeout victim of Noah Ruin. And now Casey Sauke, the new guy, trying to make a name for himself in Harwich. Already has had a 2-hit day. Scored a run back in the first with a double. He's also singled. And now a chance to walk it off for Harwich. Here comes the first pitch from Ruin to Sauke, a righty-on-righty matchup. The pitch. Misses low and away, 1-0. Sauke, a very disciplined hitter, does have a strikeout on the day, but we've seen him sit back on a pair of pitches and take them the opposite way. Against a sidearm pitcher, that's the type of swing and batter you want up. Number 2 hitter for the Mariners. Here comes the 1-0 to him. Swing and a miss. A home run cut, almost fell over on the plate, and it's 1-1. Great ball game here in Harwich. 2-2 our score. Ball and a strike. Sauke awaiting. Tapping that left foot is Ruin. Checks the runner, and Camarillo comes home. Swing and a miss. Sauke right through that one, and it's 1-2. Kennedy Jones awaits on deck should he get the opportunity here in the 9th. Ruin a strike away from wrapping up this 9th and getting his team back on offense in extras. Here comes the 1-2. And it's going to be grounded over to the first baseman. Almost ate him up, but Thatch able to make the play. Flip on to first, and the side is retired. Well, a wobbly third out there in the 9th. We will take a quick break, and this one will need extra innings. Ghost runners being placed on second. We'll step aside. 2-2 our score between the Mariners and the Kettleers. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Top of the 10th inning, call to the bullpen. Zane Prope's night is over. He went 2 strong innings, no runs, no hits, 3 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Not a bad second stint start with the Mariners. It'll now be Cole Rowland stepping onto the hill out of Wake Forest. Just pitched in the College World Series and now has arrived in Harwich. This will be his second season in the Cape Cod Baseball League. He has also pitched with the Falmouth Commodores last season. With the Demon Deacons this past year, had a .386 earned run average in his 22 games played. 3 saves, 53 and 2/3 innings pitched, 72 strikeouts to just 12 walks. Excellent ratio, and he surrendered 44 hits. Pinch hitter will be Brock Willis for the Cotuit Kettleers as Teo Banks' night is over. Cotuit thinking about a squeeze play as Scannell came charging in on the right side, and it'll be 1-0.
It's Emilian Petre on second here, one of the few ghost runners Harwich has seen this season.
One of just 2. Petre is down at second. Scannell way on the infield grass. Here's the bunt attempt once again, and it's fouled off 1-1. So the Kettleers potentially looking for a squeeze play to advance the runners. This has been a tremendous ball game nonetheless. Rowland coming set at the belt, tapping both his feet. Showing bunt already is the batter, and it's dropped down. Scannell's got it. They got the runner in a pickle now between the base paths. They fire it, almost went into the center field. Now the throw down to third. They got him! Matt Scannell with an unbelievable play to make sure they got the lead runner. The bunt does not work out for the Kettleers, and now they still have a runner on first with 1 away, but he will be 270 feet from scoring.
Mariners missed the chance to get the lead runner last night twice in Chatham, and this time they finally get it to work on the left side of the infield. And Petre really had no leverage in that sense there, was stuck in the middle the whole time.
So 1 away here for James McCoy. First pitch is cut on and miss. It's 0-1. And what a play by Matt Scannell. That could be something we look back on in about 20 minutes and be like, that was the game-changing play there.
Yeah, 3-6-5 put out something that you know the Mariners had to get right this time with the dire consequences.
Here comes the 0-1 to McCoy. Fouled back, 0-2. McCoy on the day 0 for 3. He struck out swinging, grounded out to second, and is flied out to left. Top of the order, Kalai Harrison on deck for the Cotuit Kettleers. It is a revenge game for him. We'll see if he can cash in, if he gets the opportunity. 0-2. Breaking ball misses up high, and it's 1-2 now. Rowland made his debut back on June 17th of 2022 at Hyannis with the Falmouth Commodores. Pitches for the first time this summer on July 1st. Here comes the 1-2 offering. There goes the runner, swing and a miss. They got him down at the plate, and now the tag in time. It's a strike him out, throw him out, double play. Cole Rowland and Brian Art on the same page. What a sequence. And now the Mariners with a chance to do something huge. Rowland pumps his fist, and we head to the home half of the 10th. Mariners coming back up for their last time. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
The left fielder from South Carolina, number 27, Kennedy Jones.
Bottom of the 10th, Cotuit trying to save themselves a point with a tie here while the Mariners try and take 2 for themselves. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 due up for Harwich. Casey Sauke, the ghost runner, down at second base. He represents the game-winning run. Kennedy Jones digs in on the day. He is 0 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch and walked, though. He's also popped out to first and grounded out to second. And an interesting little play there as Harrison was running all over the infield. Maybe a pickoff attempt play. Sauke kind of confused at what's going on, but he's back into second safely. Devin Dobek, Wyatt Kopelman along with you here. Bottom of the 10th from Harwich. Down at second is Sauke. Kennedy Jones hovering the bat over his right shoulder, awaiting the pitch from the closer for the Kettleers. Here it is. And it's down in the dirt, 1-0, and it appears that Cotuit just defending against a bunt attempt. Harrison going to cover third base, and coming home on the charges, Galaney. Brock Willis out in left field now with Teo Banks being pinch hit for in the top half of the 10th. Kennedy Jones trying to be the hero for the NERS tonight. The pitch. Just low for a ball, 2-0. And honestly, I'm not sure if it's a matchup thing, but if you're Mike Roberts, I think you consider walking Kennedy Jones with a base open because the run on second means everything. The runner on first only gives you a chance for a force out. It can only help you unless he's more comfortable in getting Kennedy Jones out. Every coach has a different strategy. Here comes the 2-0 offering. And Jones flares it into right field, down for a base hit. Here comes Sauke rounding third. The throw not going to come in time. The Mariners win this one. Some Mariner magic at White House. Kennedy Jones, his team best 15th RBI. He sprints all the way into center field. And the Mariners walk this one off here and send the home crowd home happy by a final score of 3-2. Wyatt.
Kennedy Jones has been the spark plug that the Mariners have looked to time and time again. That time, jammed it into right field, was almost too late on that one, and it could have been a foul ball had the wind been blowing in from left field. But with no wind to factor in at all, the Mariners now 2-0 against the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League this season.
Yeah, and the best team they are. That one's got to be a momentum shifter for the Harwich Mariners, a team in which has struggled as of lately on offense, but now they battle tooth and nail with the Cotuit Kettleers, the best of the best in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and fueled by fantastic pitching and good defense, they're able to eke this one out in front of the home crowd. What a win. We'll break it all down for you on the other side of the break. We're going to crunch some numbers and be right back. Don't go anywhere. Mariners win this one 3-2. We'll be right back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome into the Harwich Mariners postgame show. Devin Dobek joined by my broadcast partner Wyatt Kopelman after a thrilling 3-2 walk-off victory here from White House Field. Kennedy Jones, the UNC Greensboro product, now South Carolina Gamecock, wins it for his club. What a win. A flare to right field does it. Casey Sauke comes in to score the winning run in his first game as a Harwich Mariner. Wyatt, a thrilling game start to finish, but let's first talk about how fantastic this Harwich bullpen was tonight. It's been their weakest part of their pitching staff all year long, but after coming in, the last three relievers combined for just one hit allowed. They were sensational.
Yeah, and when you look at facing the best lineup in the Cape Cod Baseball League, the Cotuit Kettleers certainly bring the prowess of extra base hits, not to mention the RBIs as well, top three with RBI hitting this season. But again, the Mariners relievers together to face a mix of righty and lefties here tonight in the Kettleers, managed by Mike Roberts, and they did a great job of just being able to shut them down. Meanwhile, the Mariners had one hit from the 5th through the 10th innings, and they finally got to cash in.
They jumped on the scoreboard early. Sauke was cashing in. Humphrey also scored a run. Kennedy Jones had the big hit at the end of it. Lorenzo Carrier, an RBI tonight, really up and down the board. You can comment on something everyone in this lineup did to help earn the victory, but that's got to be a big momentum shifter. I mean, you got to think this is a Harwich team which has struggled as of recently, not hitting the ball well, held to 4 hits against the worst team in the league in Chatham last night. The bats finally came together when they needed it most, and that's what we've been talking about all season long, Wyatt. Situational baseball, and Harwich once again executes for their second walk-off win of the season.
And Cotuit didn't even commit an error as well, to consider how much of a matter of inches it is at times in baseball. Jones just getting within the chalk on the game-winning base hit here in the 10th, but also the fact that the Mariners only committed 1 error. Last night they had 4, so the fact that they made fewer mistakes, they were a little more aware on the base pass, saw an excellent 3-6-5 put-out to get the leading run out, and certainly could have been the game-winning run as well down the stretch in that 9th inning. The Mariners were a lot sharper in the infield tonight.
The Mariners take on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks for the second time this season over at McKeon Park tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Looking forward to that one. A thrilling victory here one more time from White House. We'll take a look at the final box score. Harwich 3 runs on 9 hits with 1 error. Cotuit 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors. The win goes to Cole Rowland in his Mariner debut. The loss goes to the ever-so-good closer Noah Ruin. And that just about wraps us up. Heading into Hyannis tomorrow, once again, 6 o'clock. That one, the final, one last time, 3-2 Mariners from White House Field. On behalf of all of our media team, my producer, Sean Sears, Wyatt Kopelman, my broadcast partner, myself, Devin Dobek, thank you so much for joining us on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. And always remember to live the dream. We'll see you tomorrow.